Calaroga Shark Media.
Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news, a daily briefing on stand-up comedy, comedians, and the comedy industry, a sentence which the algorithm really likes, because if you don't say it, the numbers go back down. If you missed yesterday's episode, or if you bailed and you're like, I don't care about Kermit the Frog, this episode sucks, the last story in yesterday's episode is so much fun. Make sure you go back and at least listen to that one. Today will be a little more serious in a second as we get into Andrew Schulz, but let's start with this story. You may have seen it. This hit the mainstream press. From the SmartLess podcast, Will Arnett revealed that a, quote, very famous comedian that Arnett describes as an effing rank a-hole was kicked off SmartLess. Arnett said, we cut him off after 10 minutes and said, thanks so much, and ditched him. He joked, you'll be blown away by who it is because you'll be like, how did you get Bill Cosby? It's not Bill Cosby. People are speculating on who it is and the timing of it. The internet is speculating that the answer would be Chevy Chase. That Chevy would have been recently promoting his documentary, and Chevy does have a reputation. Again, I don't know. Arnett didn't say, but the internet seems to think Chevy Chase. That's not a bad guess. Andrew Schulz seems to have some evolving opinions on the President of the United States. Got a few articles discussing Mr. Schultz's evolving opinions on the President of the United States, but let's hear from Andrew Schulz himself. He was a guest on Charlamagne's podcast. There is some salty language in this clip. Not too bad, but some salty words that I normally don't use on the podcast. But in this case, I'm going to let them go. If you don't like salty language, you've been warned, but I'm pretty confident you can handle it. Here's Andrew Schulz talking to Charlamagne.
Look, I know I had Trump on the podcast, and I'm aware.
Stop explaining that. Man.
No, but let me just clarify, because I think it is important to say, like, I know how I had him on the podcast, and when I'm talking out about this, I'm not doing it to get people to be like, oh, he's a good guy or whatever like that, or trying to get anybody on my side. I understand that this is a horrific event that happened. I objectively want to talk about it. I'm not trying to win anybody over in this.
You understand? You know the difference between right and wrong.
There's a difference between right and wrong, and there's a difference between respecting and honoring the Constitution, the backbone of our country, and then completely shredding it. And this is completely shredding it. And now they're realizing that people have noticed it, and now they're trying to backtrack it. But
by the way, he's been wiping his ass with the Constitution.
Sure,
and I've been on record a million times saying when he said we should terminate the Constitution to overthrow the results of an election, shit like that got to be disqualifying if you're running for president.
So here's a perfect example. So I know that there are people sounding the alarms about this. When I saw these last few weeks in Minnesota, I didn't think it was possible to happen in the United States of America. I'm being 100% serious.
To white people?
No, to anybody.
But you've seen it happen to black people.
Exactly.
Yes, to white people.
It's okay to say that.
No,
it is.
No.
But it's okay to say that.
I don't. I mean, I didn't know that this was possible to happen in the United States of America. And what I'm specifically talking about with this situation here, and not only this one, but also what we've seen ICE doing, entering homes without warrants, arresting people. It is unconstitutional. And they've done this weird thing where they have a federally administrative warrant, which is some bullshit. It doesn't even allow you to actually have access into a home. Yeah, they're trying to find ways around the system. And what that says to me, when you're willing to shred the Constitution to preserve it's not only your power, but your ideas of what should happen, it is incredibly un-American.
The Daily Kos writes, MAGA broadcaster Andrew Schulz seems to have reached an epiphany. He's realized that Trump is a liar, that ICE are a pack of unconstitutional goons who have tried to break into people's homes and viciously shoot down American citizens in the streets while they execute their First and Second Amendment rights. Shockingly, he doesn't like it. The Daily Kos writes, this conversion presents us with several questions. How do we Democrats react to this? Option 1, do we openly embrace it and welcome to the land of the sane and rational? The Kos gets into some previous examples of things Mr. Trump has said, and they ask the question, why didn't Andrew and other MAGAs realize that he meant that stuff back then? Option number 2, do we continue to flog Andrew Schulz for his previous Trump support? Option 3, do we demand that Andrew Schulz grovel, genuflect, and apologize for his past transgressions? The Kos writes, they were willing to sell out their fellow Americans to gain a larger piece of the pie for themselves. Do we need them to explain that themselves and admit they were wrong? Because if they don't, won't they likely to fall the same circus trick again? Option 4, do we ignore Andrew Schulz? The Kos writes, does it even matter what we think of him? Does he really need a warm embrace and a wet kiss from the already existing anti-Trump crowd? If he's insincere, he'll soon jump on the next bandwagon. There's nothing we can do to stop him. If he means what he's saying, he's going to still feel that way whether we embrace him or not. He's a grown man. He can make up his own mind. It's nice that he finally broke in our direction. But we weren't the ones who finally convinced him to do that. And option 5 is, do we use Andrew Schulz, writes the Co's? Their premise, on the other hand, could Schultz, as an influencer, be a potential gateway to leading other MAGAs out of the wilderness? Regardless of how we feel and react to him, could he be a Pied Piper directing many others away from the evils of MAGA madness? Should we encourage this because many more MAGAs are more likely to listen to him, questioning and leaving the cult, rather than listen to us? I know this is heavy. I'll remind you I did 10 minutes on Kermit the Frog yesterday. Andrew Schultz on his own podcast was discussing the Epstein list. Schultz said, if you bring up another effing pedophile about deporting and you're not releasing the Epstein list, just shut the F up, all of you. Yeah, I don't want to hear anything else about, oh, we got to deport the pedophiles. They're right here. There's a list of them, and you're not exposing it. Correct writes, we shouldn't punish Andrew Schultz for turning on Trump, but that doesn't mean he gets a pass for his part in Trump's resurgence. Their premise, Schultz' way too recent epiphany, naturally has the internet ragging on him and reminding him of his full-throated endorsement of Trump during the last general election. But does the anti-Trump faction of the comedy community really want one of the most successful and influential podcasters in the country running back to the other side? Kathy Griffin called out Joe Rogan for platforming right-wing people and pushing conspiracy theories. I'll remind you, I did 10 minutes on Kermit the Frog yesterday, okay? Just go back. You can listen. Kathy was on In Your Dreams with Owen Thiel. Apparently that's a podcast. And Kathy Griffin recounted an interaction with a critic on the street. The critic on the street tried to convince me of all Joe's conspiracy theories and all of his weird supplements and his popping veins. I knew Joe back in the day when he had hair and was a comic and I liked him and he was nice, and now he's turned into this really powerful, very much, but he doesn't say it, right-wing guy who platforms right-wing people, and bros really believe him. The straight bros, they're not getting vaccinated because of Dr. Joe Rogan. All right, John, make this fun. Okay. Switching gears completely. Heidi Gardner explained she was fired from Saturday Night Live. She was on Mike Birbiglia's podcast. Birbiglia was riffing with Heidi Gardner and said, the thing that would crush me is if I worked on something and then someone was like, you can't do it. Gardner agreed that getting sketches cut was hard and said, I ended up getting cut, I feel like, more than anyone in the world. When I was doing it, after a while, you get to a point where you're like, well, I'm comfortable here, I'm good, I'm comfortable, like I could just have fun. But no matter what, you're always stressed. It's high stakes and you care so much. It was always like the worst thing that could happen, or the worst thing that could happen was not getting to do your thing that week. And it was just, there were so many worse things that could happen, and at least one of the worst things would always happen. Now, people are looking at Heidi's quote where she said, quote, I ended up getting cut. Now, as I read that, I'm taking that to mean her sketches were cut. However, the New York Post had reported that Gardner's contract was terminated. Dana Carvey had previously said that he'd heard Gardner was not asked to return. The New York Post had quoted an anonymous insider who said Heidi's contract was not renewed. Quote, it's time for a new cast. Which reminds me, the internet has decided, and I agree, Ashley Padilla is the new star of Saturday Night Live. And she's not even main cast yet, but she will be. She's the breakout star. SNL UK has a premiere date. This from Late Nighter. SNL UK will premiere Saturday, March 21st, airing on Sky, streaming on Now. You'll find me in international waters, if you know what I mean. I want to check this out. Season 1 is just 6 episodes. The cast has been revealed. I don't recognize any of these names, but I'm sure they're wonderful. SNL UK lead producer James Longman, who used to work for Corden, said the UK is absolutely packed with incredible comedy talent right now, and this cast represents the freshest voices we have. They're bold, exciting, and of course, incredibly funny. Same format as SNL USA. Live studio audience, opening monologue, sketches, live music, and some version of Weekend Update. This weekend on this very program, tomorrow, Super Bowl preview. A lot of comedians doing funny commercials. At least I hope they're funny. We'll talk about that tomorrow. And then Sunday, I have an interview with comedian Ismo. He'll be at the Vancouver Just for Laughs Comedy Festival. He's really cool. I'll talk to him for about half an hour. ISMO. If you've got a minute, Google Ismo Conan. He's got a bit about the word ass, which is brilliant. And then he's got a full Netflix special up from 800 Pound Gorilla that I watched that last Sunday. Very, very funny. He's Ismo, and I think you'll come out of Sunday show going, hey, I like that guy. It is Friday. It is time to hit the comedy stock market. Take it away, Burt Reynolds.
Comedy stock market.
We will keep it simple this week. 2 recommendations for you. We're going to buy some Dave Chappelle. I feel like Dave Chappelle, he's back. Not just from the Riyadh Comedy Festival. No, he's totally back. He's going to do that show in Minnesota. He's palling around with Jon Stewart. These are times when we need someone who is good with the words, and I think the time is right for Dave Chappelle to come out of hiding. Let's buy some Dave Chappelle stock before he hits Minnesota. And the other person we're going to buy stock in is Ismo. I just told you why he's great. So Dave Chappelle and Ismo are our comedy stock market picks for this week. We're not going to sell anybody. We'll keep it positive. From page 6, industry insiders say they keep seeing Adam Sandler on the Fox lot. That's where they filmed The Masked Singer. Is Adam Sandler going on The Masked Singer? They don't think so. It is believed that Adam Sandler has moved his Happy Madison offices from the Pacific Palisades to the Fox lot. Sandler's company had been in Palisades Village, which is one of the rare stretches of land that escaped last year's fires. Sources say Adam Sandler did not want to subject his staff to the toxic fumes in the area. Also, and this is a real thing, there's nowhere to get lunch, and I'm not saying that flippantly. A source close to Adam Sandler says he lives 7 minutes from the Fox lot. And he asked his employees, is this closer for you? He would have gotten a free deal over at Netflix, but he wanted to make sure his employees are closer to home and having an easier ride. Adam Sandler is a good guy, a family man. I love the way he dresses. Right now I'm wearing sweatpants, a yellow hoodie, and a Knicks hat. So I'm sure Adam Sandler and I could be friends. We only disagree on one thing, and that one thing is he is terrible at comedy, but he's a great dramatic actor and a solid guy. Ben Bankus, that's the guy that made the jokes about the fatal shootings in Minnesota. He's joked about both of them. If you want to go see his comedy, he's up in Rochester tonight. He'll be at the Carlson, right off Blossom Road. 2 shows tonight, 7 and 9. 2 shows tomorrow, 7 and 9. $30 will get you in. And Bill Cosby in the news. This story's about a week old, but I just saw it. Bill Cosby's longtime representative, Andrew Wyatt, is speaking out after Bill Cosby allegedly confessed to refilling his Quaalude prescription in hopes of using them on women. Wyatt told Us Magazine, "I'm hurt and disappointed. He was like a father to me. It broke my heart when I saw this today." The saw this is referring to a TMZ report on January 28th. That report from TMZ says that Cosby admitted under oath that he had a recreational prescription for Quaaludes and refilled it 7 times with the intent of drugging women to have intercourse with them. Andrew Wyatt said, "I was the only one who visited him in prison. I was the one who walked him out of prison, not his attorney. I truly believed in his innocence. I believed what he was telling me. Someday, I will tell you some Bill Cosby stories. You're going to have to wait for Mr. Cosby to pass away for me to tell them to you. But I have Bill Cosby stories for you, and someday I will share them." And that is your comedy news for today. All right, tomorrow, Super Bowl preview, and Sunday, Ismo drops by. You have an awesome weekend.